What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another episode of Player Ratings as we drew 0-0 with Brentford at the Brentford Community Stadium. And let's get straight into it. And let's start off with Hugo Lloris. Sim gives him a 7. I gave him a 6. In my opinion, first half didn't really have much to do. He was fairly untested. Second half, there was that one moment where he comes rushing out from his goal, which could have ended up in a bad situation, but he did win the ball. And then he made one save, wasn't it, after Kane cleared off the line? I think it was from Emerson. Yeah, but apart from that, I mean, he was fairly untested.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure if he got a touch on that header that hit the bar or not. I think he might have done, but I actually think Lloris had a pretty decent game in terms of from a few corners he was able to come and collect. I think the saves he had to make, he'd made. I think his distribution at times was decent. I didn't have too many complaints. What he had to do, he did all right. So
I felt like actually some of his distribution was a bit nervy at times and wasn't the greatest as maybe. Well, his distribution has never been the best, but I think that it wasn't the greatest yesterday. I don't think it was that good yesterday, his distribution.
I thought it was okay.
Yeah, but anyway, let's move on and let's talk about Ben Davies now. 6s all round from us. Started the left of a back three, then moved over to left wing back when Emerson went off. But look, I think that
Sessegnon went off.
Sessegnon went off. Sorry, I think that defensively he was okay when he was at left centre back, but when he was asked to go forward a bit more at left wing back, he did get forward, but he just lacks that quality in that position massively. And when we're looking at the wing backs that Conte wants to implement, I mean, he's just not that guy.
And I actually thought he was getting forward quite a bit when he was at left centre back as well, but didn't provide the quality we needed from that role to kind of do anything in the final third. I thought defensively he was okay. I thought positionally he was pretty good. I didn't have a problem with that. I just thought when he was asked to go forward, and the amount of times he did go forward, I didn't think he provided any sort of quality, and I don't think he helped Sessegnon that much on the left either going forward. And as you said, when he went to left wing back, had a couple of times to swing across in and wasn't able to find the man. So wasn't great from that point of view. But you know, he hasn't been left back for a while, so I don't want to criticise him too much. But yeah, could have done more.
Let's move on to Cristian Romero. 7s all round from us. In my opinion, most definitely our strongest performer on the day. A number of really important interceptions, getting in front of Brentford players and winning the ball back that way. Super aggressive. He did a lot of work helping out Emerson on that right-hand side when Emerson was nowhere to be seen. And he was getting forward quite a bit and trying to make stuff happen, but ultimately he was pretty much the only one that played well yesterday.
Yeah, I thought he had a pretty good game. I think second half as well, his distribution started very bright and very sharp, and he was getting it forward very quickly into good areas and was creating some good situations for us, but we didn't make the most of them. He went forward quite a bit as well. Did a decent job. Obviously, Emerson was hampering him as well when he's trying to progress the ball down the line. I feel like, again, a bit similar to against Brighton. Emerson was, again, in a few positions. We didn't trust him. We would rather go in the congested area in the centre than go out wide to him. And I think
it says a lot, though, that doesn't it?
Guilty of that a bit as well. But I thought he had a pretty good game overall. And, in open play, I thought he kept Mbeumo and Tony pretty quiet. But obviously set pieces, they were getting some joy.
Which moves us on to Eric Dier. Sim gives him a 6. I gave him a 5. And when you're looking at these set pieces, especially in the first half, when we just kept leaving Ivan Toney completely free, Eric Dier's got to be the guy organising at the back, and I just don't think he did that. And I think defensively he was okay, but where I had a problem with Eric Dier yesterday was playing out from the back and his passing yesterday, because I felt his passing wasn't up to scratch as it has been for the majority of the season yesterday. For the most part, defensively, like I said, I thought he was all right, but I just thought his passing let him down a bit yesterday.
Yeah, a few times he was attempting those long raking passes and he wasn't getting them right at all. He was going through a period where he was getting them spot on pretty much more often than not. And now, last couple of games, the passes have been a bit off, either hitting them too long or the defenders being able to intercept them, and it's becoming difficult for him to find those passes. But yeah, defensively, I thought he was okay. But as you say, the amount of times Tony was free at that back post and we didn't get that sorted was ridiculous. So he's got to take a bit of responsibility for that as the leader at the back. But I thought by and large, he was okay.
Emerson Royal up next. Sim gives him a 2. I gave him a 3. Just carbon copy displays week in, week out from him, to be honest. Absolutely nothing going forward. Finds himself in a lot of space a lot of the time, and maybe the team, as you said before, don't really trust him in those positions. When he does get the ball in those positions, he offers little, next to nothing. Going the other way, defensively, he did okay sometimes, but I think Romero was covering for him a lot of the time yesterday, and that pass just before he goes off literally just sums up his Spurs career, to be honest.
Just sloppy, and it's not just him going forward, it's just him in general build-up play as well. He's not comfortable. He's seems like he's going to give the ball away every time he gets it, and it's really, really frustrating to see. He did have one good moment where he got forward in the second half and played a ball inside to Harry Kane, and we had a few shots, but ultimately nothing happened. But you have to be doing that at least 4 or 5 times a game. To do it once is not enough, and it doesn't make up for the rest of his game, which is so poor, and he's starting to really frustrate me week on week now, Emerson.
All right, let's move on to Rodrigo Bentancur. 5s all round from us. I felt he wasn't moving the ball anywhere near quick enough on the pitch yesterday, and some of his passes were really sloppy. Not really any penetrating passes going forward. He saw quite a bit of the ball as well, but I just don't think he used it in the right way yesterday. And I don't know if it's the injury hampering him or the opposition really doing a job on him and outnumbering him in midfield, but the last couple of performances haven't been that great from Bentancur.
Yeah, he actually got forward quite a bit this game, and he had a couple of shots, but wasn't able to make them pay. I do believe he's struggling with the build-up. Before, we used to give it to Bentancur, and he used to have that really good composure and was able to either wriggle out of a situation or find a good long pass, but that seems to be disappearing at the moment, which is a bit worrying. Didn't get caught on the ball like we've seen him do a few times, which was positive, but needs to be doing more, Bentancur, to make up for the lack of creativity we have in the team.
Yeah, which brings us on to Pierre-Emile Hojbjerg. 6s all round. I did think he was probably our second best player on the pitch yesterday, but it's not really saying much. Probably wasn't as confident as the last couple of games or the last few months. Hojbjerg, he's been brilliant. I thought he was okay yesterday. He was definitely trying his hardest and trying to make stuff happen. He was probably our most creative player on the pitch yesterday, which is not saying much as well. Hard in the tackle, trying to drive the team forward, but seemed like the only one.
Yeah, he's always he's definitely more of an option a lot more time than Bentancur. Tries to take responsibility, which is good. He had that good run down the left-hand side. He seems to do it at least once a game, just have these runs by the byline and try and make something happen, and he nearly did. He bundled into the box and couldn't quite find a man inside the area, but at least he's trying to, force the issue. Again, defensively, okay. I thought, again, when we're trying to build up from the back, he's not providing enough of an option. Maybe it's because he's being outnumbered. But I thought he was decent, but wasn't enough on the day for us.
Which brings us on to Ryan Sessegnon. 3s all round from us, and we've been calling for Sessegnon to come in the team, whether it be at right wing back, left wing back. Conte responded and put him in the team this game, and unfortunately he did not grab his chance. From left wing back, I thought, look, I don't think much came down his side defensively. I'm not sure if that was down to him or Davies, the way Davies was backing him up, but going forward, absolutely toothless. Wasn't taking on his man, wasn't hitting the byline, wasn't getting any crosses in the box, and I failed to remember anything positive he really did yesterday. Yeah,
I mean, he had a big opportunity with Reguilon out the team to nail down that spot at left wing back, and he didn't quite take it. He did have opportunities as well. Amount of times we spread the ball out wide to him on the left wing back role to try and take someone on and get across in the box, and either he was able to get a yard and the quality wasn't there, or he wasn't able to take on anyone on. I'm pretty sure about all of his crosses pretty much hit the first man if he was able to get one, all went out of play. And he also wasn't able to get in the box at all, try and get right over the back post or something, or try and be more offensive. And he didn't take his opportunity whatsoever, I felt.
Heung-Min Son, 4 from Sim, 5 from me. I felt like out of anyone out of the front 3, he was the one that was looking like that something could happen. But obviously nothing did. He was huffing and puffing, couldn't really blow Brentford house down. And at the end of the day, he was stifled. He was isolated, and nothing was coming.
Yeah, I think he was probably the brightest of the front three, to be fair. I think he did get a bit more joy when he was moved out wide late in the game and found a bit more space out wide. But his crosses were going to the keeper. He also had that free kick late on in a good position, floated straight into the keeper's arms. You got to think. You would have thought it was similar to when we had that free kick late at Watford, and you're thinking now's a chance to get a really good ball in and see what can happen, but it just didn't quite happen for him. He tried. He probably got the most joy out of all our front three, but not saying much because I can't remember too many efforts on goal or anything. He had all his shots were blocked. He was struggling to find space. They were closing his spaces down. And I think sometimes with Son, when he's not got that space, his touch can be a bit off, and when that happens, he can be a bit sloppy, and that's what happened, I felt.
Yeah, and it really frustrates me with Sonny, when he does the corners, those short corners. Nothing ever comes out of these short corners, literally. He passes it, then they lose the ball literally in that corner every time. And it's just so frustrating.
Brentford on a counter-attack.
So frustrating every time we do these short corners. And he tries it at least 2 times a game as well.
Yeah.
Which moves us on to Dejan Kulusevski. Sim gives him a 4, I gave him a 3, and unfortunately it was another anonymous display from Kulusevski. You brought up the point that he might be missing Doherty behind him to create that space for him, and yeah, you might have a case there, to be honest, because he didn't offer anything when he was in that right number 10 position. When he was at right wing back, again, I don't think he offered too much, and yeah, just another poor display from him.
Yeah, I think he offered a bit more for me when he was at right wing back, because I actually think there was a couple of times he was able to find a bit of space on the right, cut inside and get a couple of crosses in. Unfortunately, it was a bit late. He only had about 5 minutes there, but I actually think he was starting to get a tiny bit more joy there. Again, on the right, bit like against Brighton, was marked out the game, wasn't able to influence it really whatsoever. He was usually quite good at wriggling out situations, but he wasn't able to do that in this game. And another game where he's not really getting any shots on goal, which is disappointing, because I want to see that guy use his left foot more when it went in the final third, because I'm certain he's got a very good shot on him, but I feel like he doesn't take enough shots.
Absolutely. Which moves us on to Harry Kane. 4s all round from us, and he got completely stifled out the game yesterday. 2-3 men on him at all times. It seems as though teams are really working out the way that we're using Harry Kane, and he doesn't seem to have an answer at the moment, as well as the rest of the team. And he gets a chance late in the game, a scissor kick, half chance with that scissor kick that goes wide. But apart from that, there was nothing really in it for Kane. He was completely marked, completely out the game, whether he'd drop deep, whether he would stay up top. He just couldn't sort of influence anything in that game yesterday.
I thought first half he was atrocious. It was one of his worst of the season in that first half. If I'm basing it on first half, he literally gets like a 1 or 2 out of 10. He was that bad. I think he completed 1 pass. I think he lost the ball about 5 or 6 times. It wasn't looking good. Second half improved slightly. He was getting in the game a bit more. He twisted one defender and had a shot over the bar. He then had a shot blocked inside the area, and he had that overhead kick, scissor kick that went just wide. On repeat viewing, it was actually closer than I thought. It wasn't far away, but unfortunately wasn't enough in the game to get us anything out of the game. And even in that second half, we want him to be doing more, influencing it more, and it's the second game in a row he's been really, really quiet now, so it's a bit disappointing. Yeah,
especially at this stage of the season as well. Let's move on to the substitutes. Davinson Sanchez, 6s all round from us. He came on. Who did he come on for?
Sessegnon.
Emerson.
Sessegnon.
For Sessegnon, sorry, yeah, for Sessegnon. Look, I mean, I'm not too sure why we made this change when we're looking for a goal. It looked like he was trying to just make the defence a bit more solidified when we really need to push on and try and win the game. He didn't really offer much. I mean, maybe he did make us a bit more solid, but that's about it.
Yeah, I think he actually was all right, but there was a few times, he finds himself in the final third and he just doesn't know what to do with it. The ball's like a hot potato when he gets in that position.
A lot of our players.
I think, to be fair, a few times Brentford were looking to counter and he was mopping up really well because he's got good pace. And I think that's part of the reason why Conte brought him on, just to make sure that if we do get countered, we have someone quick at the back to cover the space. But unfortunately, we didn't have the quality going forward, and that's what we needed at the time, not maybe defensive solidity. So I think he did his job, to be fair, when he came on, but in terms of tactically, I don't think it really helped us too much.
Last but not least, Lucas Moura. Sim gives him a 5, I gave him a 6. He did bear down on goal, and then he got hacked down just outside the box. It was probably our best opening of the game. But apart from that, he offered nothing.
Yeah, that was pretty much the only moment. He only was on for 5 minutes, wasn't he? So it's difficult to get with that amount of time. I would like to have seen him at least 10 minutes, give him a run at the team. But yeah, I think he had that one run. Could have hurt Brentford, unfortunately. Brentford made a cynical foul. That happens sometimes in football. There's nothing you can do about it. And that was his moment, really, wasn't it?
Yeah. And now let's talk about the manager, Antonio Conte. 4s all round from us, and let's get it right. If you didn't know who the manager was yesterday, you'd probably assume Nuno was still our manager, as well as the last game. 2 games now, no shots on target, no threat whatsoever going forward on the back of free-flowing football, scoring 4 or 5 goals a game. It's just not good enough at the moment. And if you know that you don't have the players to play your system, you have to change it up. I'm sorry, but you have to change it up. And I think Conte has been a bit guilty of that. In-game management, I feel like he needs to start making these attacking changes and influencing the game a lot earlier than he has. I mean, to not bring on Bergwijn and only to bring on Lucas Moura with 5 minutes to go, when you can see the clear lack of any sort of attacking threat in the team, unfortunately, you've got to look at Antonio Conte at that. And he's, in my opinion, he's not doing enough in the game to swing the game tactically. And unfortunately, we look toothless at the moment. And you've got to look at Conte for that.
Yeah, and I think I was happy when he moved Kulusevski to wing back, but it's so late, 5 minutes. Why not give the team a bit of time to actually try and get that goal? I mean, he's worried about the balance of the team and that stuff. And it seemed at the end of the game we were happy to take a point. With how the team were playing. I don't know whether that was instruction of Conte. If it's 0-0 late on, just come away with a point if you don't look like winning it. And that's what it seemed like the team, and that was kind of his instruction last week. Which, to be fair, come to think about it, we could have done with a point last week, the position we're in now. But in this position we're now, when it's crunch time, we need those 3 points, and we need to be trying to throw in a bit more caution to the wind than he is. And this draw doesn't really help us in our pursuit for top 4. It leaves us in a very difficult position. So I want him to see more offensive changes. I want him to see it change the game more positively going late into the game. And I want him to try and sort out the tactical issues we're having. We're progressing the play and using the wing backs differently, because at the moment the wing backs are just not up to what we need, and we're getting dominated midfield. So we're kind of getting the worst of both worlds in the last. We're not dominating in the middle, and we're not got the quality out wide. So all of a sudden, well, what are we doing? At least maybe if we play 3-5-2, we might not have the domination out wide, but at least we might have the control midfield, and that's what he's got to think.
Yeah.
Because right now we're not doing either. I know it's only 2 games, but 2 games at this point of the season means everything.
Exactly.
So that's the worry.
Yeah. All right, so that is our player ratings on the 0-0 draw with Brentford. Let me know your player ratings in the comment section below. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.